Oh, Madam Akua.
Yeah.
Biaboko.
Nyamia dom.
But to my volume.
Nyamia dom biaboko.
Biaboko.
Nyamia dom.
Right. So last week assembly see out in the saying.
Hey. It's difficult, and it's something we've not experienced. We hear it in the news, but then we've not experienced it, and it's not been an easy journey for some of us. And it brings back memories, and you have to walk other people through their journey. And all I can say is that God knows what He's doing. You may not understand Him now, and then to the bereaved family, they shouldn't feel that God has disappointed them. God loves them. God is near with them. He's still working with them, and He will give them the strength they need to hold on through the situation.
Right, okay, so Ishmael Donko, it says, I see I'm watching you live. A chimkidi. And me do it, you. Keep up the good work. God bless you, sir. God bless you, sir. Rosa J says, yes, the song they will play. Obeko will play the song before we leave here. So, let's boss, get me the song, Rosa J. Right. So, grief. Grief therapist. Should I say that?
Yes, it's
grief
right.
Therapist. When people go through grief, how do we get them out? Because looking at especially this recent one, the 8th, your husband told you that I'm going to work, I'll be back. Then he didn't come back. You didn't see his body too. You only saw that they've putting people in sacks, and you're expecting that this might be my husband, whether this one or not. How is the feeling like? How can you work this person into grief therapy?
Okay, so grief. Yesterday I was telling someone that the fact that sometimes the closure is when you see the body and the body is being covered, the casket is being covered.
Yeah.
But in their case, it's a different level of pain, because you don't even get the closure you want by even seeing the person.
Yeah, that's
the respect. So that's a different level of grief. But then grief therapy comes in so many forms, and everyone's grief journey is different. For instance, for the 8 of them, everyone will grieve differently, and so it's not a cast in stone that everybody has to.
But why are they going to grieve differently?
Because obian in journey, and you obian the way you accept grief. Someone can decide to accept that that's what has happened to me, and then after accepting that's what has happened to me, the person will accept it, move on, find ways to get better. Somebody too will be in a denial stage. And also so brings a different form of things. But then there is one key thing, whether denial, acceptance, we work them through it by beginning from making them understand that this is what has happened. But you work with the person.
So the first step
is for you to accept
that
it has happened.
We need to find say a loss of a loved one. You need to accept that.
Yeah, and it takes time.
Ow.
Only for me, with my kids.
One day you know that the person is gone. Where they are is gone.
It takes time for people to understand that the person is gone. And after the person has said that the person is gone, you need to walk through the person's daily journey, or for the person to know that this is what has happened to me. And after the person has accepted it, that's when you can speak to the person the mind of God. That's when you can speak to the person about the mind of God concerning the situation. But even at the time when the person has not accepted it yet, you can still speak the mind of God to the person. And then everyone and how they deal with. Someone wants to cry. Crying doesn't mean the person is weak. Sometimes we are told not to cry, especially with men. Oh yeah, bear man. But then you need to allow the man to cry.
Saw some just crying. I'm like,
listen, you need to allow them to cry. Some will cry, some will not cry. But crying doesn't show weakness. Crying is the love that has nowhere to go that has to come out. Someone's expression is tears. Someone's own will come as insults. Someone's own will come as, I just want to write, I want to sing, I want to lie, I don't want to do anything. So understanding each person.
Those that be fighting.
Some can be very vocal. Some can even accuse someone of doing it just to allow them to take the grief of them. And some too will accept the guilt that man is so uncover and kawe number. You understand? So everybody and how they handle their grief and how you're supposed to meet them halfway through it. Then after you've gotten to understand the person in the first few days of communication with the person, to know where to meet the person halfway. Then you begin the therapy by having to let the person voice out. Most often we want to tell them things, but sometimes as they speak to us, they get healed. Because in sharing your story, you give someone else hope, and at the same time, you yourself too, you feel less burden. Sometimes you must show me on person moka. But Rebecca will say kuna phone kasa and not a then she's going through depression, she's going through pain. Obey ufufra and kasa. You understand? You're not supposed to talk about it, fear and all those kind of things. For those who have had child loss, miscarriages, stillbirth, and those things, they are not allowed to grieve. But that is what is embottled in them, and later on leads to depression. Recently, I met somebody who had miscarried twice. Now has a child, but is still grieving about the 2 miscarriages because she was never allowed to speak about it. It's never like that. You see, we undermine pain in our society. That's the first time that
in Ghana.
Yes, we undermine pain. We undermine grief. We don't speak about grief. So we don't allow them to grieve. You know, in our settings, certain things are not done. So when you are seen doing things contrary to the things that are done, it's like this is not done. You say, but then if we get to understand that no pain must be undermined, grief is not supposed to be shared alone. So the first time I felt very comfortable knowing that everyone is with them in this. And most often when you are in grief, the most important thing they need from us is prayers. It's only prayers that will hold them, because sometimes you see them all strong.
What if the people involved, they are not Christians?
They are not Christian. Please, you still pray for them. The only thing you see, some of the questions we ask them is needless. It's not the right time to ask them the questions. Ebane saying and na obana, like last week, obana we would no you need that swana. Like these are senseless questions in the first few days of grief.
Sorry for laughing, man. How can you ask me that? There
was a media man that was asking one of the bereaved 8 gallant men's mother if the son that had passed away was Nenida so. And the person had just passed a day. How can you even ask the woman that question? The woman broke down to cry.
Oh, your person beside say, on penny oba na I say, let's say, oh, basso Jenny. Maybe I will doctor do and the soldier you are said doctor. Maybe I'm trying to play the devil's advocate.
But then it's needless for grief. See, right now the people that have lost their spouses, their family, the 8 gallant men, and even the 15 kids that died a few weeks ago, we don't need to ask certain questions. We don't need to even politicize this issue. We need to censor the things we say, because somebody
said that in Kuala 15 Kuala crowd and the papa from
it's no grief is small. It will amaze you that the older person that has died is a heartbreak than the child that has died. But then no loss is small or needless. Every loss everybody goes through is painful. That's how come I get angry when people undermine somebody miscarrying a child. That, oh, I can't cry and ban saying yes. Listen, the first few weeks of a woman knowing that she's pregnant, her whole mind, her whole life changed.
Expecting to have a
child. So when we undermine even miscarriages, that is how I say here in our society, we undermine pain and we belittle people. We rush people through their grief.
First, we don't pay attention to depression. Now say the depression here, my funny face adaroma. Now say the depression here, Juma cancer. I feel see pain.
Yeah, grief. We undermine pain.
Papa, in this world, at a point in time, everybody will have to go through some sort of pain.
Yeah, so we need to acknowledge the pain.
Right.
We don't have to rush the person through the pain. Sometimes they'll tell you, oh, it's been a year, it's okay, you should be better, you should move forward. But somebody in 6 months is okay. But somebody in 1 year is not
somebody
okay.
Dies, and doing that, the husband's funeral, somebody is behind the wife, trying to, let's say, especially in the case of men. When the wife dies, you see the friends of the wife. They'll be coming around cooking for you. After she's buried, so somebody takes over.
There's this myth about the fact that like he's a man that is said that men they when they lose their spouses because she a girlfriend but bet you mean when I started this grief therapy journey, men go through the worst form of grief than women.
Yeah.
Because 1, they are not allowed to cry. 2, society thinks that Bema, you're okay. So and you see this depression, and some is coming from pain, loss. And this loss we're talking about is not even about the fact that someone died. It's got to do with where the person wants to see himself at a point in time. The person has not even gotten to that place yet. So you're going to grieve, obi peba unyaba. Our society is backlashing her. So the person is also grieving that obia woku ichuma cry. Yes, now why you late and all those kind of things. So